Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillahi anbiya'i wal mursaleen. I welcome you all to the Hajj seminar at the Gwinnett Islamic Circle, this funny masjid. Jazakallah khair for all the management, Hafiz Muti, for welcoming us, allowing us, inshallah. Okay. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the Hajj registration process to start with, okay? And then we'll open up for the question and answer. And if people have need help, personal one-on-one help, inshallah ta'ala, we are here to help you. Just be patient with us as we go through this material, because some of this you might already know it, but I still want to just. So in our team, we have about team of like about 14 people. Part of the Rawaf team, we are part of the Rawaf. We are all Rawaf guys. Hafiz, Mufti Ahmed Jafri and Mufti Muhammad Jafri is also part of our team, alhamdulillah. So just want to kind of give a quick introduction. If somebody doesn't know me, my name is Farid Ahmed, and I've been involved in the Hajj process for quite some time. More recently, very deeply involved with the whole Nusuk process, etc. Before I get into the Hajj process itself, it's important to ingrain in our thought process why we are doing Hajj. We're not doing Hajj just because it makes us, it looks good. We need to really internalize this one. We need to start preparing. We need to start thinking. Even if you have performed the Hajj before, we never know if this will be our last Hajj. So internalize it, think about it, contemplate about it. In Surah Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks in multiple places about the concept of Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about it, about He wants us to celebrate His the past incidences. It's about showing Him off. It's like there are lots of places He talks about it. So Hajj, if you look at it, it's about the Prophet ﷺ having performed the tawaf, Ibrahim ﷺ having performed the tawaf, the whole process of Bibi Hajra going through the Safa Marwa incidences, about Ibrahim ﷺ and Ismail ﷺ going through the incidents of the shaitan trying to discourage them from obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, etc., etc. This is all different steps that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's dear prophets have gone through, that Allah has basically put it in our practice that becomes a Hajj. So think about it. Start learning about different things as we are doing. Attend as many webinars as possible. We conduct webinar once a week, maybe later on it will become twice a week. In that webinar, we talk about the fifth part for a few minutes, and then we get into helping you prepare for the Hajj. Okay? So don't look at this Hajj as just a process you have to go through. Don't get so much involved in the Nusuk process. We'll help you through the Nusuk process. The Rawaf team, there are Rawaf channels available. We are available. We'll help you through the Nusuk, inshallah. Okay? So back off a little bit from the Nusuk process and start thinking about the essence of the Hajj, inshallah. Okay? So let me move forward. The Hajj process, basically, the Hajj process for the last few years, this is the process that we've been using. There is, first of all, you have to register on the Nusuk platform, not the Nusuk app that you have on the phone. This is the website, okay? Hajj.nusuk.sa. You need to register on the platform, okay? And we'll go through a little bit more in detail. Once you complete the registration, the Nusuk team will go through the verification process. They will review and make sure you have all the information correctly submitted. Your passport, your picture, your information, they're going to verify. And once you get that successful message, then you are ready to start looking at the packages when they are released. We'll talk about them also, inshallah, in a few minutes. Then you have about 3 to 4 weeks of time to review the packages. So once you have selected the packages, once you have prepared for the packages financially, there is a concept of called e-wallet, which is basically Nusuk team's online wallet, basically. Okay, so once you are ready, funds in that wallet, pick the packages, etc. Then on February 4th, the purchasing will start. Okay. Now, just because your registration has been successfully verified does not mean you're approved to go for it. You're ready to start looking at the packages and purchasing the packages. Okay. I just want to make sure we understand that part, right? So once you're ready in this part here, then the purchasing on February 4th is what is scheduled right now. So it's a first come, first served basis. So what from now until the end of this year, please attend all the webinars that you can. Because in our webinars, we are going to prepare you step by step about all the information. So by the time packages are released on January 4th, you should be ready to think from how packages are. You should look at the package and say, yes, that's what I. You should be ready. You should not be sitting there reading, what does it say? What does it mean? No, we want you to be ready. Completely ready, inshallah. Okay? As part of the team, we are going to prepare you. This is not just for Rawaf. The entire Rawaf team is trying to help you, irrespective of the package. Yes, we want you to come with us. Of course, we want you to. Because Rawaf is considered one of the best company right now. Okay? But that's not the whole. Rawaf team does not ask you which service provider are you going to go. They're ready to help you. Okay? Just the same as we are as part of the team, right? So we want you to be completely ready. Okay? So attend as many webinars as possible. So on February 4th, when the package purchase starts, you should be ready with your packages selection. You should be ready with your funds in the e-wallet. You should be ready to press that purchase button. It should become like this. Okay? So as long as you are prepared, inshallah, you will get the package. And then the Hajj visa, flight, everything comes through this. One thing I want to emphasize that financially, your funds, your payments, everything is through Nusuk. You do not deal individually with anybody. If somebody comes and tells you, give me $10,000, I'll take you to Hajj, they're lying. I just want to be very clear about it. Okay? So, ministry has put the entire Hajj process into Nusuk. Whether it's a service provider, group guide, or any individual comes and tells you, you don't accept. Everything is here. So when the package is purchased, your visa, your flight tickets, your travel items, everything comes through the supply. Everything. Okay? So then, inshallah, in the middle of May, you'll be ready for the travel. So now, let's concentrate on the registration process. The registration process, it involves about 5 steps, basically. Okay? You have to create an account. You have to upload your documents. You have to update the profile information. You have to update the medical information. And then you do the submit. Okay? Nusuk verifies it. Once it's successful, you go into the purchase packaging. And then if there is a current failure, you go back and correct it. Okay? And we will share, inshallah, some of the reasons why there are failures. Inshallah, you can look through it, inshallah. Okay? So this is the registration process. Now, let's move on. There are 2 documents that are necessary for Nusuk process. Okay? Your passport copy and your passport personal picture. Now, the passport copy has to be exactly like this. 4 corners have to be completely visible like this. You cannot cut this corner off and expect it to be accepted. Like, for example, if you cut this off, or if it is crooked and all that. Our recommendation is that you avoid taking a picture using your phone because there's always chances of it becoming crooked, sideways, a little bit off, etc. Preferably scan your passport if you can. Okay. If you don't have a scanner, go to one of the shipping stores, FedEx, UPS, etc. They have a scanner available. $1, $2 for this. Okay? Get a scanned copy, clean copy, so that when you're ready to submit, you're not going back and your personal picture has to be 2 by 2 inches like this, with the face being in the middle of the picture. It cannot be sideways, it cannot be this way, it cannot have different background colors. It has to be a white color. If persist, although Nusuk does not specifically require it, it is better to take a picture with a hijab. I have seen cases where it keeps getting rejected and people submit it with hijab, it gets upset. Whether there is a reason behind it, I don't know. But one of the reasons I do recommend sisters take a picture with the hijab is when you're in the Hajj, when the ID is issued, that ID will include this picture. If you're going to submit a picture without hijab, the entire Hajj period you'll be walking around with an ID that does not have the hijab. ID you have to wear entire time on your body. So you don't want the picture without a hijab during the Hajj. Okay, so just consider this. So these two documents are absolutely needed, and it needs to be clearly visible, etc. It needs to follow this specific. Now, a third document becomes required only if your residency and your nationality don't match. So the residency requirement comes in if, for example, you are on a green card and your citizenship is of another country. Then you need to submit a proof of residency. Proof of residency could be your green card, your driving license. Those are the two preferred documents. If for some reason you don't have it, then they will accept some other documents such as the lease document, the work visa documents, etc. But I would not suggest you use that because those documents have to have your full name, full address, and a lot more details in it, but still it will get rejected. So if most possible, use your green card or your driving license. If not, of course, use the other documents. They have to follow this format here. 800 by 400. This has to be 200 by 200. The maximum it can be by 200, 200. I want to say it should be only 200 by 200, but that's not correct. But if you do 200 by 200 for the passport, for your personal picture, chances of getting approved becomes higher. Okay? And the same thing with the passport copy has to be 800 by 400. It can be less than that, but better keep it at 800. So, and then the document it has to be either PNG or JPG format. The document has to be PNG or JPG format. So all these documents have to be under 1 megabyte. They will not accept it if it exceeds that. Now, you might say, how do I adjust this pixels? Pixels is like, everybody doesn't understand it. It's generally not it's generally not that very difficult. Your computers, the Windows computer has a tool called Paint, and Macintosh, the Apple, has what's called a Paint. Both of them support this. You to be able to fix the pixel. So, for example, if you bring up the Paint on the Windows, there is an option here to resize. You click on the resize, you click on the pixels here, you remove this, there is a ratio thing in the middle here, and then you type 400 by 800 by 400, and then you save it, inshallah. Okay? So once you do this, once you save this one, you need to still make sure that you still need to make sure that the document is legible. You need to make sure about that, okay? That the document is legible. Okay, the document is legible. So the quality, and then at the bottom here you can see that it will tell you what pixels it is and what's the size. So once you complete this one, make sure it's still legible, it's still good. Okay? So now let's start the registration process. You go Hajj.Nusuk.sa, and every time I keep re-emphasizing this one. Because during the Hajj period, scammers are at full flood. They are out to get people. They will say there is a Hajj webinar going on, read the code that you have on your WhatsApp. Please do not follow. No legitimate organization will ever ask you to read a code. No legitimate organization will ever ask you to send your passport information, fill the information. So, in the same way here, sometimes they mess up this one and try to get your information out of it. It has to be hpjj.nusuk.sa. Most probably try to type it. Okay. So you start the process by clicking the start registration, and then you complete this information. See, the first thing it asks you for is country of residency, not country of citizenship. Nusuk support the following residents of North America, South America, UK, Europe, Oceania, which is basically New Zealand, Australia, Japan, South Korea, South Africa, and one or two, a few other countries in Africa. If you are a resident of these countries, your only choice to perform Hajj is through Nusuk. Unless you have dual citizenship with another country, and if you want to go for Hajj to that country, that's a possible. But other than that, the only way to go for Hajj is through Nusuk. If you are North America, South America, Europe, UK, Oceania, and South Africa, Japan, Korea, etc. Okay? So just bear that in mind. So the first thing that is the country of residence, not citizenship. They are concerned about where you reside. And then the information, your valid email address. Then you click on start the create the account. And once you create the account, having access to the email address is very important because they continuously keep sending you OTP to that one. So they're like send an OTP and then they'll ask you to create a password. And once you create the password, you will get confirmation that the account has been created. Registration is still not complete. It is just a marker in your name has been placed in this. It's a placeholder. Now, let's move on. The next step, again entering the OTP, is to submit the document that you saved earlier. Now you're ready to upload. First, you upload the passport, and then you upload your passport picture. When you upload this document, it will tell you if the scan is successful or not. If the scan fails, try once or twice. Generally, what Nusuk does is the third time will tell you, sorry, we cannot scan your document. You can manually upload the document. I don't suggest you do. Go back and look at your image, look at the documents, and see why it is the scan is failed. The reason is, yes, you can go forward and manually enter the information. High chances you will make a mistake. So it is better to go back and fix the document so that you don't go into that because high chances that it will get rejected later. Okay? So once it scans, it will give you the summary string. Okay? Review the information. The data in the Nusuk has to match what is in your passport, not what is accurate. Please understand that. What the data in the Nusuk has to match what is in the passport. For example, if in your passport your name should have had in Abdullah, it should have ended with an H, you forgot to do it. That's how it is in the passport. That's how he has to be. You cannot say, wait a minute, my name is an H, the passport people forgot it. I'll go ahead and next. Your registration will be. Okay, so the data has to match whatever is in the passport, whether it is in data. Let's say you missed, you gave the wrong document for some reason in the passport. That's how it has to go in the Nusuk. One other thing, the passport has to be valid for 6 months from the time of the travel. The time of the travel is May. So that means 6 months from May 2026, your passport has to be valid, which is basically until October, November time. If your passport is expiring anytime before that, please have it renewed immediately. And because the time is very short, go for an expedited service. Okay? Let's move on. So So you go through this whole, all the summary information. There are 3 pages I want to highlight and to provide some guide. One is, it'll ask you for the arrival date, and you're going to say, wait a minute, I don't know the arrival date because I haven't bought a package yet. I don't have a flight. Because this is required, you go ahead and put some number like 14, 20 or so for the duration, and it'll ask you for the flight. Again, you say, I don't have a flight. Just put some number 001, 202, something to the effect. It really does that. The second one is the medical information. This is very important. You need to accurately fill this information. Okay. One of the things that it asks for is chronic information, chronic illness. Be careful about it. Chronic illness is defined as an illness that requires medical attention on a very frequent basis, like every other day, like diabetes. Just because you are on heart medications or diabetic medication, insulin, even including insulin, for example, which you can, as long as you have insulin available with you. So that doesn't necessarily constitute chronic. But if you feel concerned, doubtful, consult your doctor. But be careful submitting this information. Last year, this information was not considered, but this year I'm told it will be considered. In fact, it even required from medical service. Okay, so be careful in completing this. Address also had a little bit of a difficult situation where there are 3 fields: street address, and post office box. Post office box, if you don't have post office box, just say but the street address is the numerical portion of your address. 2021 highway, Lawrenceville Highway. 2021 will go here, not Lawrenceville Highway. Lawrenceville Highway will go in the home office. Unfortunately, this is the way it is, and these are required fields, and you have to come. Okay? So once you complete all this, you are ready to submit. But before you submit, go back and review and make sure all your information is covered. Now, one thing we did find is when they do the scan, for some reason, they are missing out on the middle name. The second portion in the first name, the US passport has, which is the middle name. Somehow the scan seems to be missing it. Okay? You can go, you can press this edit button and as part of the first name. Now, if your first name is longer than 15 characters, okay, you can divide it into the first name and the father's name. First name and father's name. Continue the name in the father's name. Okay. So once you complete it, submit, it will say application submitted successfully. Now you have completed the application. This one, you submitted the application successfully. The verification process at this point in time is taking 2 to 3 days. Be patient. But in the meantime, you should continuously keep checking to see what's the status. There is a bell icon in the Nusuk once you log in. That's for notification. You should keep checking that notification. They should be sending you the email, but sometimes, it misses. So moving forward, there is each account can have up to 9 members. Basically, family members. You can have about 9 people in your account, 8 people in your account, you plus 8 people. Okay? So you can have 8 people. So, but all of them have to be the residents of the same country. They can have a passport of another country, but they have residency of America. For example, in our case here, they have to be legal resident of America. They would have passport from Canada, Bangladesh, Pakistan, whatever. Yes. But the residency has to be American residence. A few things that you have to carefully look at. Okay? When you add people in your account, they are basically under the primary account holder. Primary account holder will administer the account, basically, going forward. One single package applies to everybody. Meaning, everybody has to travel on the same day. Everybody has to travel on the same day. Everybody will be staying at the same place, and everybody will be returning at the same. Okay, this is something, and that's generally why people do it anyways. The reason you put people in one account is because you want to travel together. But this is important to understand because I've had situations where people have come and said, my son wants to travel a little bit later, but he wants to be there. You cannot do that. As part of the package, you cannot do. Individually, you can always travel late on your own account, on your own cost, basically. Okay, but you will all get the same package. The payment is through the e-wallet, one single e-wallet, meaning if there are 5 people in the account, and let's say you pick a package which is a $10,000 package, you'll have to put $10,000 into the e-wallet. The payment for everybody on the package goes from that single purse. E-wallet is nothing but a purse. Okay, everybody is paid from. We'll talk about e-wallet and sharing. Now, the advantages is that based on the past experience we have seen, one of the big advantages, there are challenges. Once we get to the purchasing stage, it's like a lot of people want to get in at this time. Okay? There is a huge bandwidth issue. So if one person is able to get in, that means you can get the package for the 8 people. So there is an advantage with that. Of course, the other this is you're traveling together, you're together in the hotel, etc. But the disadvantage is if there are 8 people in the account, but if the package has limited number of seats, okay, if the package only has 4 seats available, you will get rejected because you cannot get it. Now, to add the family member in your account, there is an option called My Family. You click on the My Family and then you say add family member and you go to you provide each family member needs to have their own unique email address. You provide them the email address and then the email address, a OTP code is sent to that email address. You get the OTP code and you're required to put it in here, submit it. So that is how you verify that email address, that person is willing to be part of your family. So once you do that, there are 2 options. Either you add the member in your family, if that person doesn't have another account. If that person has another account, let's say 2 people have created your account, but now you decided to combine it. Then you say, invite the family member. Then that person will receive a notification saying, do you accept this invitation? That person says yes, and then that person becomes part of your account. Okay? This is how you merge multiple accounts together, or you will go ahead and the family member, you will go through the entire process of document upload, etc. And then you go through the whole process of adding the family member, etc. If you invited, you go into your personal account that was there, and you would accept it and you move forward. Now, in case if you need to remove a member, there is a step. I'm not going to go through this much more detail, but if anybody needs help on this, reach out to us. We will help you reach out. Now, let's talk about pricing. Now, pricing is not a thing. We don't have prices. Okay? Prices can only be released on the Nusuk platform. What I'm trying to do here is give you a flavor, an estimate, so that you can start thinking about this. Okay? So these are not accurate prices. This is just ranges I'm giving. Okay? Let's be very careful about it. Now, the major factors that affect the pricing is the flight date. Which airport you're flying out of? LAX, Chicago, New York, Washington. So depending on the distance, the flight cost changes, right? So it's a flight gateway and the Hajj duration. The 2 major factors in this 14 is the Makkah hotel and the camp. These are the 2 major things. So if we get into detail of this. So if you look here, this is a map of the Makkah area, Hajj. So here is the Haram, the Mina camp, the Azizi area. The first one are the Zone hotels, which are the hotels which are right across from the Haram. The Clock Tower, the Makkah Hotel, Dar al-Tawheed, Anjum, these are kind of considered the Zone hotels, which are right in the perimeter of the Haram courtyard. Okay. The next one is the Zone B, which is the Jabal Omar, the Hyatt, Conrad, etc., which are right behind the first level of hotels. These are considered the Zone B. The Zone C hotels, which are about half a mile to mile away. Okay? These are the hotels such as the Voco, the Meridian, Shoda, etc., which are like in about half a mile to mile distance. There are shuttles from there, okay, but they are walking distance also. It is generally not a major walking distance, but it is there. Okay? The fourth category is the zone MID, which is basically in Azizia. These ones are about 3 to 5 miles. There are shuttles available until the 5th of Dhul Hijjah. The frequency is always questionable, okay, but the shuttles are available. Okay. These are generally the most economical hotels if you are in Assisi. Okay. So this view the same thing. Okay. This is Haram, this is the zone A. Then behind that are the zone B, and then the zone C is back here. Zone B is now the second major factor that affects the pricing are the cabs. Well, the cabs. If you look at this one, this is the Mina, the Jamarat is here, Azizia is here, and Muslim is the farm. So in Azizia, the first camp I want to talk about is the Al Muhassam camp. Al Muhassam camp, which is also referred as European American camp, it's about 3 miles walk, approximately 2.5 to 3 miles walk. From Al Muhassam to Jamarat, it's only walk. There is no transportation available. Please bear this in mind. There is no transportation available. People do talk about we can go there, from there we can hop it. It doesn't work. It is not useful. It really doesn't work. So please, when you're making selection, please remember this one. It's only walk. It's generally not a difficult walk because it's paved area. There are about 6 or 7 tunnels which are basically shaded with fans in them, but it is still a walk. Okay, so bear that in mind when you're making the selection. The second camp is the Al-Kabsh camp, which is also called the VIP camp. It's about half a mile from the Jamara. The other difference between the Al-Kabsh and the Al-Muassam is the transportation between the Al-Mashayr camp. Al-Mashayr is basically your Hajj air spots, basically. The Mina, Muzdalifah, Arafat, the 5 days that you spend there are considered the days of the Mashayr. Okay? So the transportation between Mina, Arafat, Muzdalifah is by train when it comes to Al. The transportation from Al-Muhassam, as I said, from the camp to the Jamaat is walking. But from the Mina camp, Muzdalifah is bypass. And Alhamdulillah, in the last 2 years, it has become very organized. Before, people would run back and forth, it used to be a disaster. But Alhamdulillah, they brought things under control. So it's much more well organized. Okay? So these are the 2 camps. Al-Quds and Al-Muhassam. There is a third camp that I don't want to get too much into detail. It's called the Kidana camp, which is like about $25,000 to $40,000. Since Rawaf doesn't work with it, since I don't deal with it, I don't discuss it because I don't want people to be spending that much money. Okay. So these are the 2 camps here. So bear in mind, 3 months here. This. Okay. So now I want to talk about the pricing. Before I talk about the pricing, I want to re-emphasize again. I do not have an idea of the prices. I do not know the actual prices for 2026. I'm providing you range just so that you understand how the range is. The first one I want to discuss is the Al-Sultan with hotel in Azizia, which is a 3 to 4 star hotel. It can cost anywhere from $10,000 to $10,000, $8,000 to $10,000, mostly around the $9,000. Okay, all these prices that I am projecting, estimating, includes your hotels, your transportation within Saudi Arabia, apply. I mean, the two timing breakfast and dinner is all included, plus the al-mashar transportation. Okay. The second category is the free al cap and still Aziza Hotel, but the hotel rating improves. This one can be anywhere from 9 to 11,000, mostly in the $10,000. The third category, now you get near, but the cap still remains almost. Okay. So this one can be about 10 to 13,000. I want to kind of say this is more in the 11,500 to $12,000 is what more realistic figure is with the almost cap, but the hotel being close to half. The fourth category is, of course, the uncut cap with the hotel near Haram. This goes about 13 to 16,000. This is probably, I'm going to project this is going to be about 14 to 15,000. Okay. Now, when you are selecting a cap, you got to bear something in mind. Unless you have a physical limitation and you have to be in al-Kabsh, be flexible to be in al-Muassam because al-Kabsh is a very limited capacity. Al-Kabsh is probably about 5,000 seats available, I believe. I don't think it has. It's only 5,000 seats available in Al-Kabsh. Whereas the Al-Muassam is about 35 to 50,000 seats. So that means there's a higher possibility of getting Hajj package with Al-Muassam than with Al-Kabsh. So be prepared. Don't get yourself locked in saying that I have to be in Al-Kabsh, otherwise I don't go for it. You will go for Hajj if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said you cannot just bear that in mind. I mean, I want to add that right from the beginning. Going to Hajj is not about you, not for you to decide. For you to make that intention, you to say, I have the desire, I want to put the effort in. But I have seen cases that where sometimes people did not want to go to Hajj for one reason or another. Allah grabbed them and made them do the Hajj. This is the way it is. Okay. And I've seen cases where people have worked very hard, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not have the Hajj for them for that year. They did not get the package. But inshallah, because of the desire, our hope is that they will get the Hajj sometime soon, inshallah. Okay. But Hajj is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but it's for you to put your desire and effort. Okay. So these are the prices. And again, I want to emphasize this is only range. Estimates I'm giving based on the past experience. These are a few updates, okay? If you have this, please bear in mind, Nusuk is still updating the system. They're still going through the verification. There are still some issues, please bear with them. Now, there are some login failures. If you get some message from Nusuk that you don't understand, don't hesitate. Just send them an email and support them. That I said, and inshallah, they will respond back. When you send a message to them, make sure to include your passport number, your email address, and make sure to be clear, precisely clear as to what your issue, what your question. Make sure, unless your passport has an Arabic field, because we see people doing this a lot, unless your name is listed in Arabic, please don't have the Arabic field in the summary in the Nusuk registration. Because we have seen people, they say, oh, it says Arabic name. Going and trying to enter your name in Arabic in your registration will say, because your passport doesn't include it. Remember, I've said the Nusuk information has to match your passport. Okay. If your passport includes your name in Arabic, definitely put it in Arabic field, no problem. Continuously check your account to see if there is any message from them. And you can always look under your name profile. In your profile, it will tell you under verification, rejected, inshallah, successfully approved. Okay? Keep looking for them. You should be receiving the email. But I said, sometimes things might happen and you may not receive it. You may not know receive it. It might go to spam folder. Any number of reasons. So I recommend that people should go at least once or twice a day and look at the status just in case. The other thing you can do is there is this bell icon. Click on the bell icon to see if there is any notification. So it will tell you what the status is, etc. You'll understand. So this is basically the Hajj calendar. The registration process is continuing. It's going to continue throughout this period of time. Okay? On the 4th of January, as we know now, they are going to release the packages for review. On the 4th of January, we are expecting the packages are going to be released for review. Okay? And this is the reason I'm saying, please do not miss any webinars that you can. Attend all the webinars so that you're ready to look at this package and say, yeah, I know how to look at that. I know what information to look. In fact, in the webinar tomorrow at 2:30, I'm going to go over the packages, how the packages are laid out, what information to look for, etc. So please make sure you attend that. Okay. So on the 4th of January, the packages will be released for review, and around the same time, the e-wallet will be ready to top. Topping means adding the funds. Okay. And then on the 3rd, 4th of February, we are expecting the package purchasing to start. So by 3rd and 4th of February, your account should be verified. You should be ready with what packages you want. You should have put the packages in your shopping cart. You should have the funds necessary in your e-wallet and ready to purchase. You cannot say, I need this package, let me add some more funds there. It's not going to work because there is so much frenzy when the purchasing starts that it'll go within few hours, if not few days. So you have to be prepared for this. And then this, and then we will, the Rawaf team, including us, we will continuously conduct all this fair and logistics session until you're ready to go. We are going to prepare you with every little detail, so that when you go for it, not only spiritually you do things correctly, but you also do things safely so that you can come back when they're healthy and safely. Okay? So we are going to go through the entire step by step process. Okay? What you should do, what you should not. How do you keep safe? How do you, where you can possibly have some room to play. Including, we'll also discuss about where is the good food there. Okay? Because you have to have good food, right? So we'll even discuss that part. So, and then sometime the 15th, 16th, 17th of May, you will travel to Hajj, and the Mashar days are expected to be in the last week of around the 24th, somewhere around time, is when the Hajj days start. Okay, now why do we keep talking about Rawaf? Rawaf, I am a guy for Rawaf, but there's a reason why we ourselves decided to be with them. Because Rawaf in the last 2 years has done an excellent job in supporting the Hujjaj. One of them is what's called the pilgrim dashboard. This is an excellent concept that Rawaf has come with. All your information that you need to know is here available. Everything electronically available. Your flight information, your hotel information, your check-in day, check-out day, your train tickets, everything that you know, your name of your guide, contact of your guide, everything is listed right. Very clearly available. And the holy sites data, the flight, the transportation, the transportation within the holy site, all this right there available. And continuously from now until then, Rawaf is continuously providing the webinars, multiple webinars. Let me just go to, of course, so if you go into this website here, global, this will give you all the webinars that are being conducted. In fact, if you go there, you will find my webinar for tomorrow morning, tomorrow afternoon, listed as one of the first webinars. The other thing is our local support. We are available here in the Atlanta area, Georgia area, in the United States. We have people who are available to help you. You can join our chat group. You can join our Telegram account for chatting, and you can connect in our WhatsApp account. We will specifically talk about the webinars that we are hosting here. Okay. And then, and we have several workshops that we are planning in the Atlanta. We will publish that in a webinar. In fact, this Sunday, we have 2 hours workshop in MOTW coffee shop. My team is going to be sitting there. Anybody has an issue, you can just come there with your passport. With your account, we'll help you there. This we will conduct in different places until you're ready to buy the package. Plus, we have Chicago and Jackson who are more than willing to help you, actively help you. So just be aware of this one. Any questions? Open for questions. Sorry, I had a lot of information to share. I wanted to cover this. So any questions? I'm open to answer. Yes, please. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that. The brother is asking, what is shifting and non-shifting? Thank you for bringing that question. It gives me an opportunity. Shifting package is basically where you are going to, the shifting only applies to Makkah, okay? And it only applies to hotels. So shifting packages are those packages where either initially before the Hajj days or after the Hajj days, you will stay close to Haram. Okay? A few days before the Mashayar days, you are moved to Azizia, mostly Azizia. Okay? Now, that is called shifting days. Okay? So, like about 4th of Dhul Hijjah, you will be moved from your hotel, which is right across to your hotel in Azizia. Okay? That is called a shifting package. And you will remain there till the end of Makkah. Until the Makkah, you don't go back to the hotel. You will end up remaining. Or there are shifting packages where you will be in Azizia from the beginning until the end of the Mashayar. And after the Mashayar, you are moved to. That is called shifting package. Non-shifting packages, you remain in the same hotel from the beginning to the end. Most of the packages are non-shifting hotel. The reason they introduced the shifting hotel is to lower the cost. The cost of the hotels near the Haram are at peak from about 4th of Dhul Hijjah until the end of the Mashayar days, a few days until the Mashayar days. To reduce the cost, they develop this where they move people into the Aziz. That is called shift. Thank you for asking. Yes, please. Just 1 minute. Sisters, if there are any questions there, please have Sister Samina or Sister Sakina send it in the chat to us, please. Okay. Thank you. The question the brother is asking is, do the packages include the visit to Medina? All packages have a visit to Medina. This is something the ministry did about two years back. They made it a requirement that all packages need to have a few days in Medina. Okay? Whether it is 2 days, 3 days, whatever period is there, a visit to Medina is there. All the Rawaf packages that we generally get involved in has a train between Medina and Makkah. Okay? In Medina and Makkah, they use the train, so it's about 2.5 hour service. Excellent service. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, brother. Go ahead. I'm sorry. The prices are per person. Absolutely. Yes. The prices that I showed is by a person. If you join the webinar tomorrow, I'm going to go through the breakdown of the prices in the package. And tomorrow's session is very important because it introduces the package selection. How do you select? What do you look for in a package? Okay. The webinar starts at 2:30. You can get the information either if you join or from here you will see the webinar listed once you go in. Yes, that's not a problem. You can travel on a Canadian passport. The question is if a person can travel on a Canadian passport. Yes, as long as you are a resident of one of the countries that I listed earlier, North America, South America, etc. I'm assuming the question is, if you are a resident of United States but have a Canadian passport, yes, you are considered in the American law, basically. Okay, so you can travel on that. No problem. Okay. Yes, sir. The question brother is asking is, if you have a family member that's a resident of a different country, can they be included in the family? No, they cannot, because it's said earlier, to be included in the family in the same account, they have to be resident of the same country. For example, even if you have a parent that is living in Canada, you cannot include them in your account because the country has to be America or you have to be resident of Canada. Yes. Well, the question the brother is asking is, if there are two different accounts, whatever they are, okay, can you get the same package? Well, you can try, but there is no guarantee. You can definitely try. You can talk to each other. You can work it out. Look at this detail. Look at this detail. You can put them in your shopping cart as the most preferred package. Okay. In our webinars, we will talk about how to do all that. In the next, we are going to develop this in the next few weeks, basically. Okay? So you can put that in your preferred package. Okay. So both of you can have, even if the package is not exactly the same number, about 100, like that. But you can look at the similarity and put it in two different. Okay. Yes, good. Yeah. I mean, look, when I said earlier that go to professional, this one, it was only because of, we have seen cases when people do personal photo themselves or themselves scan, it becomes difficult, right? But if you have taken a personal photo, it matches those requirements that I listed earlier. 2 by 2 inches, background is clear, your face is in the middle of the picture. Yeah, sure, no problem. Yes, brother. Yeah. No problem. No problem. I mean, the question the brother is asking is, even if you're not planning for 2026 Hajj, can you still go ahead and submit a registration? Yes, there is no reason why you can. You can submit it. It'll be there. The only thing is, when the time comes for 2027, they might have you go back and re-upload documents and make some corrections based on what the requirements are then. But there is no reason why you cannot. Yeah. Yes, buddy. Okay, the brother is asking the question, if I understand correctly. If someone goes to Hajj, whether it's this year or next year, will they find substantial 10 years ago, and will they find substantial difference in the setup? Yes. Yes. The camps have improved tremendously. The ministry has been doing lots of improvements, okay, to make the life of the Hujjaj simpler, easier. The 10 years back, for example, the bus system between the camps was very difficult. People used to rush back and forth, but I'll tell you one thing. We have seen the difference from 24 to 25. In 24, people were struggling in the buses, but 25, mashallah, no struggle. In 23, I want to say this. In 23, people could not get the beds in the Mina camp, even though they had paid for it because of the right? But in 25, what they did was they assigned you the bed in the Mina camp. So your bet is your bet, nobody can take it because there was a ban and there was a number on it. Okay. So every year, ministry is looking at how to improve the logistical part. Okay. And of course, the Mina, the Jamarat, completely organized, etc. The chances of that stampede, etc., are eliminated to great extent. Somebody is good. Okay, the brother is asking the question that each country has a limitation. Is that true for America? So yes, it is true. Okay. Each country does have a quota. Last year, we believe, because we don't have an exact number, it's never released to us, it's about 4,000 to 5,000 visas were there for America. But this year, we are told that they will. There are one or two phases of the package sales. Okay, the way it works is they allocate the numbers to different countries. If those countries don't consume all the visas, they take those visas and make it available internationally. That's what happened last year. But we believe that this year they are not going to restrict people into one country visa. Okay. So you could buy a package which is from different countries. We still don't have the exact detail, but to answer your question, countries there is a big quota for each country. Yes, brother. Yes, brother. The brother is asking a question, first of all, about the age limit. Let me first answer that. As of right now, there is no age limit. The only age limit is the minimum age limit. 12 years and up is the requirement. Higher age limit, we don't know of any. This year, we do expect them to look for that medical information. Okay. Now the second question is the second question is the parents are US citizens, but they live in Pakistan. Can the package can you have an account, but they travel from Pakistan? Okay. Let me first of all, because if they are not resident of United States, they cannot apply. That's one. Okay. They have to remember one thing. I said that the Nusuk is based on residence, not nationality. Right? So if, for example, they don't have residency in America for whatever reasons, right? Then they cannot go through Nusuk, even if they are American citizens. But let's say they have a residency here, for example, they happen to be in Pakistan. They cannot travel from Pakistan there are two types of flights in a package. Okay, one is called a group flight, which is part of the package, basically. Okay. The second type of flight which is called a custom flight, which has to be purchased through Nusuk, but you can customize. Okay. So you can use that option to get a flight from Pakistan to there. Okay? But they have to be listed as resident of India. Okay. All right. Now, when we discuss the packages tomorrow and forward, we'll discuss more about flights and all. Okay, the brother is asking the question from a vacation planning, how much time to block for the Hajj? Minimum is 2 weeks. Yes, there are 10-day packages, but you don't want to. That's very, very restricted, right? Minimum, I'm going to say, is 2 weeks, probably 3 weeks. Okay, did I answer the question? And from a timing perspective, let me just answer the follow-up question. From a timing perspective, the Hajj is supposed to measure this, are expected to start sometime around the 24th of May. Okay, back up that one 5 days. So around the 18th of 19th, you should be ready. 18th or 19th, you should be ready to fly. The last flight that can land in Saudi Arabia is the 4th of Dhul Hijjah. Saudi Airlines is allowed the 5th, but 4th of Dhul Hijjah is the last flight that can land in Jeddah for the Hajj flights. Okay? So if you look at that 4th, is basically like the 18th or so. All right. So you should plan on traveling somewhere around the 16th, 17th of May. Okay. Returning back like 2nd or 3rd of June. Okay. Any other question? Yes, brother. Yes. There will be a recording. The reason I emphasize people to join is for one reason. Okay. It allows you to interactively ask questions from us because we have so much material we'll be covering. We want people to get it completely. Okay. So if you cannot attend, inshallah, we'll try to release the video. But do try. I understand the limitation people have. We'll drop it in the chat. If you join the chat that we have, we will put the link in the maybe an LDR. Yeah, so MOTW, we are there from 11 to 1 o'clock. So if you come there and if we are not actively helping other people, I can go through what we discussed. Yes. Yes, same charge. The brother is asking the question, are there difference in pricing of the packages based on the age group? The answer is it's the same price. It's one person. Both 12 is considered one package per person. No difference in pricing based on. Okay. Yes. No, I don't want to say that. What I said, the brother is asking the question, if there are more people in an account, are there chances of getting approval? No, there is no reason why. Approval has nothing to do with how many people you're in the account. Okay, approval, registration approval, right? Okay, because the approval, the verification is done individually. Okay. Now, what I was mentioning to you about the more number of people in an account, sometimes you may not get the packages. If, for example, package has, let's say, 50 slots, okay. If 45 have been sold out, there are only 5 available, and you have 8 people in your account, you cannot get that package. That's the limitation. Okay. Any other question? No, it's an online webinar. It's online. Yeah, it's on Zoom session. Okay. The link will be available both available on this link. If you go here, you'll find the link, and if you sign up for this chat group, you will get the link. Our goal, Rawaf's goal, and our goal basically is Rawaf's team wants to actively help you. Okay, it is very, because I do understand the Nusuk process. I do understand. I mean, it is not straightforward. It takes a little bit of time to understand, but that's where, inshallah, we will step in. Any other questions? Inshallah, make the niyyah, keep reciting labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, innal hamda wal ni'mata laka wal mulk la sharika lak. It is said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asked Ibrahim alayhi salam to recite this talbiyah while he was in near Kaaba, and and he said, whoever hears it will come for it. Ibrahim alayhi salam, oh Allah, I'm only going to listen here. Allah said, you recite the talbiyah, it is for me to reach it to the people. Okay? And it is said that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the talbiyah that Ibrahim alayhi salam was reciting and took it all the way to the heavens, to even the unborn. And whoever responded to the call from Ibrahim alayhi salam, back with labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and the number of times they said, they'll go for it. Allahu Alam, I'm not a scholar, but this is what I heard. So hope and pray that you have responded to Ibrahim alayhi salam. If not, keep reciting. Okay. No other question? Okay. Jazakallah khair for attending. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.